When you have a new independent movie that contains elements of fantasy, comedy, and horror, and not to mention a big cast of actors that you've seen before on the big screen that you actually really like, and all these elements come together for one movie on the big screen, sounds like a recipe for an awesome movie.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
I mean, that's how it's supposed to work, right? I'm Mike the Movie Misfit, and here is my review for Death of a Unicorn. We meet Elliot, who's on his way to a very important business trip, but he also decided to take his emo teenage daughter along for the ride. He has to get some very important documents signed by the boss of this company, but these documents getting signed will secure his future with the company. This trip is so important it will give Elliot some job security, and not to mention he'll be spending some quality time with his teenage daughter. While driving to the boss's mansion, they hit an animal. Not just any animal. No, they didn't hit Bigfoot, but it probably would have been more convincing if they did. This father and daughter team have an oath of leave no animal behind, so they loaded the unicorn into the back of their SUV. They try to keep the dead unicorn a secret in the back of their SUV while they're at the boss's mansion trying to get that important paperwork signed, but then the unicorn wakes up. And let me tell you, when that unicorn wakes up, all horns break loose and the unicorn wreaks havoc on this trip. Now, I was definitely curious and interested about this movie when I first heard about it. It's A24. They have a pretty decent track record. I like all the actors that are involved in this movie. It is great to see Paul Rudd in another horror movie after all these years. Unicorns in a horror movie, that could actually be pretty cool, especially if it's played up for laughs or it's very campy. It could be a lot of fun. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you should know, I'm not very smug. I love a good horror comedy. But that being said, this movie felt like an SNL sketch that was stretched out and way too long. I had a couple of good chuckles in the beginning of the movie, well, because I like Paul Rudd and I like the way he played it off. But man, I would say 99% of the humor of this movie was a big swing and a miss. And it really felt like the comedy in this movie overstayed its welcome and didn't take the hint, because there was a lot of moments in the movie where it felt like this. A24 to me has always come off as a place for indie filmmakers just to be creative and get their movies on the big screen. But Death of a Unicorn just feels like a soulless corporate movie that's borrowing from other films. I mean, one moment it's borrowing from Harry and the Hendersons. Oh look how the family came up with a contraption to get this heavy beast on their car. But I guess in this universe, unicorns are weight conscious and they must only weigh 20 to 25 pounds because Ant-Man and Wednesday Addams got the unicorn safely in the back of the SUV with no problem at all. But then the movie manages not only to borrow from Jurassic Park, but also manages to borrow from all the bad Jurassic Park sequels too. After 30 to 35 minutes, I realized this movie is not going to get any better. This is how this movie is going to stay, and this movie does not even have its own identity. And after I came up with that realization, I came up with another one. A couple of these actors we don't need in this movie at all because they provide nothing to this film. Now, I've brought this up many times in my reviews, a new trope that I don't like in horror movies, the emo teenager. There is absolutely no reason for an emo teenager to be in this movie, especially when the father is going on a very important business trip. The emo teenager just feels like a corporate note and just doesn't feel like something you would actually see in an independent movie. I hate to do this, but hey, Jenna, you deserve a day off. You gotta go. So you're telling me this movie with a budget of $15 million can afford all these A-list actors, but could not afford one real horse and maybe some decent special effects? The CGI in this movie is terrible. All the unicorns look like Donkey from Shrek. When a movie from the 80s with a budget of $8 million can afford not only a real horse, but actually make it look like the horse can talk, and make it look pretty convincing.
The guy in the middle looks like Willie Nelson. Oh, that's hysterical.
Hell, even these practical effects from the movie Prom Night 2 look a lot more convincing than this CGI nightmare that we got here. The movie did get a couple more chuckles out of me when certain characters were building a snowman, and that's probably because I was thinking about other films that did the same thing that I actually thought were a lot funnier. Hell, maybe the unicorns themselves should have been snorting some lines in this film. Maybe it would have been a lot more enjoyable. I guess a positive or two positives I could say about this movie. I did like a couple of the side characters a lot more than the main characters. I did like the character of the butler, I think his name was Griff, and I also liked one of the other scientists that were involved in this movie, and that was pretty much it. As you can tell, I did not enjoy this movie at all. This movie was an hour and 40 minutes, and it felt like 2 hours and 35 minutes. And let me tell you, this movie could not end fast enough. I saw this movie over a month ago at the movie theater, so here's my official rating for Death of a Unicorn.
Fuck you, asshole.
But hey, if you saw this movie for free on Tubi or Netflix, I don't think you would hate it as much as I did since I saw it at the movie theater. Because Death of a Unicorn is a streaming movie only and does not deserve any of your hard-earned money, people. Alright, sorry it took so long to get this review up. I saw this movie over a month ago in the theater opening weekend, and I've just fallen really behind life and other stuff and whatever. And I'll be dropping more movies that I saw over a month ago too very soon up here. So, the good thing is a lot of these are on digital rental, so they're still relevant. Alright, Death of a Unicorn, did you see it? Did you love it? Did you hate it as much as I did? Are you tired of seeing CGI animals on the screen and actually wish we could see some real ones? Comment below and let me know. Alright, I'm Mike the Movie Misfit. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And don't forget, on this page, no overhype, no bullshit. And I'll see you at the movies.
Hey, you know what? There's a ton of lore on unicorns, too. In fact, I hear that they ride on silver moonbeams and they shoot rainbows out of their ass.
Get more out of life. Go